Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast.
Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. Taylor McDonald from First Seed Properties. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good to meet you, Taylor. Thanks for making the trip down from Arbroath.
Montrose.
Montrose.
Yeah, it's not far away, 5 minutes.
Right.
No 5 minutes to do Wishaw in the studio though. A couple hours drive for you, so appreciate that.
No, it's all good.
Let's start by telling the listeners a little bit about yourself and your background and what drove you into property, I suppose.
To be honest, the thing that really got me with property is my friend's dad. He was quite a big developer and had quite a big portfolio. So when we were growing up and into the time we were 18, he just had a really big company, a really big portfolio, and he was living the life. Do you know what I mean? He had the cars, he had everything you wanted, a house in Spain. He used to go away to Spain for like 2-3 months at a time, and we would just have parties at his house, and it's like 7 bedroom, 7 bathroom, swimming pool, gym. It was just like
nice.
It was a proper pad, and I was just looking about thinking, fuck me, and
This is
I'm
what
wanting
we
a
could
bit of
do.
this. Like, ever since then, I was like, I'm needing a bit of this.
And that was well through property, yeah?
Yeah. So he was a joiner to trade,
Yeah.
and then started doing developments, new builds. This was all pre 2008.
Okay.
And actually speaking to him, this has been a few years ago now. I've not seen him in a while, but he
He
managed
lives
to.
in a council house now? No, I'm kidding.
He lives in Spain full time now, actually. But he managed to sell a heap
Negative
of
next back. Sorry, mate.
He managed to sell a heap of new build developments just before the crash in 2008, and got himself quite a tidy sum. And
Good
then
timing.
just
Yeah.
bought a massive portfolio, and he's just been kicking back, living as far as I'm aware anyway. Like
Nice.
I say, I've not really catched up with him in a while.
It's interesting when you see people's stories like that and you look at what tweaks them, and it's
Aye.
like where I grew up, no one was doing business properly and all that, so you had no one that was doing it. It was always someone that was too far
Yeah.
out reach. So I suppose you seen your friend's dad made it really fucking well. That's within a joiner's reach.
Aye, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That is, like, you always see people and you think, oh, this guy doing that, he must be a genius. He must be this. He must be that. And then you get to meet people and you're like, he's just a regular guy like
normal
me.
guy.
So if he's managed it, then why can nobody else? You know what I mean? It's not unavailable to you.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
was the one thing I liked about learning.
So did you get that from a young age then, seeing that's anything's possible?
Yeah, to be honest, I always wanted more. I didn't really
Yeah.
have a great deal growing up. Wasn't like that bad, but I didn't have a great deal, and I always just wanted more. I've always been obsessed with money. Been working since a young age. My dad's got a landscaping company as well, so as soon as I could lift a block, I was basically
Out
like
him.
5 or 6. Like for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
And doing that as well, it taught me a good work ethic, but also taught me that I don't want to be doing fucking manual labour. Like it's hard graft, do you know what I mean? So like, even by the time I hit 20, I was like, yeah, I need to find a better way than this.
Yeah.
What age are you now?
29.
29, right?
29.
Okay.
So what was your route out of school then? Did you go get an apprenticeship or trade?
I actually got kicked out of school when I was 15. Got asked not to come back. I got to do my exams, but I got asked.
You little bad bastard,
I
were
was
you?
off, honestly.
Really?
It was terrible.
Oh,
like,
no.
really bad.
Fighting or what?
Anything you can imagine, like genuinely, like anything and everything.
Sounds like such a nice guy. Like,
Everyone's saying it's taken a few years. It's taken a few years and a lot
We'll
of
go for that
self-reflection. But yeah, I was a total nightmare as a kid. Like total nightmare.
so it's not like, this is good because like obviously I've got kids coming into like high school and all that, and just there's a lot of pressures on teenagers and stuff like that. So it's good to see, you know, people like yourself. I mean, I still consider you young, you know, compared to that.
young.
But it's good to see young people like yourself who maybe have not done so great at school come out and made a success of their life. So that's reassuring.
It's whatever you put your time and effort into, isn't it? Like at the time, I was putting my time and effort into being a little cunt. So I was great at it. I was great at that
What
because
sort of trouble would you get in it?
just drinking, fighting, going out, getting lifted by the police. Just when we were younger, stupid shit, smashing windows, spray painting. Just breaking into places, steal, just loads of just. It's to me,
And
it's
then
like
you
oh,
just
just
want-
It's the norm.
Were you
It's the
just
fucking
not,
norm,
were you
innit?
just
To
not
some people.
turning up at school then, or did you just...
Yeah, I just started skiving, just
Yeah.
not going, turning up. When I was there, I was on behaviour sheets, or I was just falling asleep in class, and just generally just fucking about.
Right.
I wasted my entire time there, to be honest.
Right.
Like I could have done so much more.
So you get booted out. Did you look at getting a trade or an apprenticeship? Or
I
something,
went
or-
straight into a job the next day as a chef. So
Oh, nice.
I was working before that. I was doing like 40-hour weeks whilst I was still at school. I was working as a KP in the local hotel, and I started to learn to cook as well because I was just really interested in it. It was quite creative. It was high pressure. Like I liked the environment.
That was same as my background, straight from school as well. Like, yeah.
And then left school at, I think I was 15 at the time, started work the next day, worked as a chef until I was 19, started as a baker for a year, Worked as a baker until I was 20, and then when I was 20, I got a job at an offshore company
Nice.
up in Aberdeen. So that was.
I suppose but being Montrose is not that far from Aberdeen. I'm assuming a lot of the pools, the money in Aberdeen and offshore.
Anyone you kind of know in the area that maybe not so much now, but definitely a few years ago when it was at its peak, anyone you knew that had money was kind of in the oil.
See, just before you go into the next bit, like, how was your parents like reacting to you when you were giving them all this grief and all that, like, and how did they kind of support you?
As you would expect. Nah, to be honest, when I was 17, I got kicked out of the house.
You did,
and I was made homeless. That wasn't the first time I'd been kicked out, but it was the first time none of my other family members would take me.
Did your mum and dad just have enough for you?
Yeah, like it was.
Had to give you
well
that reality
deserved.
check.
Yeah, it was well deserved. Looking back on it now, ended up going to stay at my best mate's house. He took me in, and he was the only one that took me in. So that was kind of a wake up call as well. I was like, fuck, I maybe pushed it a wee bit too far here, and. I would say that's probably when I started to think, like, maybe I need to make a little bit of a change here. I maybe need to rein it in a wee bit and maybe start focusing a bit more on work and saving my money instead of going out drinking all the time and just being a dick, basically.
It's still pretty young to be thinking about that sort of stuff, but I mean, sounds like you
I backed myself into a corner.
Sounds like you got on track pretty quick though. Like,
yeah, like I think if it wasn't as bad as it was, I wouldn't be where I am now, because I had to hit rock bottom and be like, fuck, look where I've put myself. Like, I've got myself here. I've got myself in this situation. No one else is coming to fix me.
See, I find that quite fascinating, because most fucking people that find themselves going down that path blame everyone else. They blame their environment. They blame their mates. It was their fault. They got me into drink. They got me fucking in that fight that night. They got me into. Like, but you're just
blame other folk. Like me and my mate were just on about this the other day. Like, you can lead the horse to water. You can't make him drink. Like, I was there. I made choices. It was totally my responsibility. Yeah. And I think that was probably the one thing, is I could actually look at myself and go, well, yeah, I put myself there. It wasn't, although I was with my mates. It's not like I was being dragged along.
My mate's mum used to blame me for the trouble we used to get in. My mum and his mate. So it was always like, we took that easy option. It was like, it's fucking your fault. You keep getting us in bother and that. He'd say the same, but you're looking back to it, both little fuckers like getting involved in bother.
I've actually got a wee bit of a funny story about that. So me and one of my best mates from school, we used to always blame each other. He'd blame me, I'd blame him. We were as bad as each other, like quite bad. And to this day, his mum still fucking hates me. Like, absolutely hates me. And to be honest with you, he just got put in jail like maybe 3-4 months ago. Oh, shit. He's getting a few years in jail. And she was at a party with one of my pals, and she was still slating me to this day, going, "Oh, man, it's all his fault." And I was like, whoa.
I turned my life.
We all had our part, like, do you know what I mean? We all did our part. We were all as bad as each other.
Yeah, putting the blame on you. So where did you start growing up then? When did you start sort of growing up and realising that, wait a minute, I need to start doing something in my life? And
probably about 2021. I've got two little sisters who are, not now, but sorry, I was going to say 12, but they're 17 and 19 now. And at the time they were about 10 and 12. And I just kept thinking to myself, like,
they're getting influenced by you.
And exactly. And I seen what was happening to other people younger than me and where they were getting led and what was happening there. And like, although they're my sisters, I've always kind of viewed them, not in like a parent way, because that sounds a bit weird, but like, I had to set the example, and I just wasn't. Do you know what I mean? I just wasn't setting the example. And I didn't want them to think that this was normal, because it wasn't. Like, it was awful behaviour. So it's like, well, I need to kind of change that, otherwise they're going to end up doing the same. Monkey see, monkey do, isn't it? Like, that's what I always think.
And then what was the route? Was there a plan, or was it just like, I'm going to work, going to save money?
Just kept saving. I just kept saving. And then fortunately enough, when I was 21, I got left a bit of money. And this kind of coincided with me just like pulling my head out my arse, for want of a better word.
That's when you're offshore as well?
I was working at an offshore company. I never actually went offshore. Right. We were on land. We were just doing like non-destructive testing and stuff like that. But it coincided with that. I got left a bit of money, and I bought a little shop in Brecon, an old hairdresser's. Rented it out for $375 a month. That was rented for 5.5 years. Never had any issues.
What made you go, like, I suppose thinking about the story you've just told now, to get a wee bit of money at 21, why not go and blow it on fucking a trip to Ibiza? Or
that was the plan. Like, that was the plan. I was like, I'll go and buy the Subaru, I'll go and buy the nice watch, I'll buy the holiday. And then I thought, and then what? Like, when the car breaks and I need £1,000 here or £1,000 there, I'm not
the car of the time?
I'm not going to have the money to fix it, so what's the point of buying it now? Or like,
everything you're saying resonates with me. I'm sitting there fucking laughing myself, going, shit, it's like looking in the mirror. If my first refinance at 21, I got $9,000 at the property and I fucking blew it and I had trip to Ibiza. And I was just thinking, like, fuck me, like, what? If I'd done something smart with that money, that compound effect would have been greater. You fucking had this head to go, I'm going to buy that shop.
I was still like, I'd still done Ibiza. I'd still done all these things previous to that. And I think that's probably why I was like, right, I've had my fun. I've taken the piss a wee bit too much. But let's just maybe try and do something now. And
who was it that left you the money, if you don't mind me asking?
Granddad. Right. It was an older family member passed.
Yeah.
And
And with the shop just on the market?
No, so it was actually off market.
Right.
My girlfriend at the time had her own hairdresser business,
Aye.
and it's where she actually served her time. So it was her old, not a journeyman, because I don't know if that's what you would call it, but like, do you know what I mean?
like,
The person that trained her, it was, she owned the shop and they were looking for a sale, and they were struggling to get it going in the market. So we just did, at the time I didn't even know what an off market sale was. So I was like, but we'll do a deal,
Yes.
and got that. And it ticked a lot of boxes in my brain. It kind of made me realise, like, shit, you can do this. You can buy that property. You can get the rent.
Was that you knowing like this pal of yours who had the dad who was a property guy that you thought, I want to own something with that money?
Yeah, that was about it. That was about the gist of it. I didn't have any real plan, or
you just knew you had an asset.
Why commercial and like why a unit and not a house?
because it was cheap and it was available. Like there was no thought behind it. It was
It's kinda
literally
came across you.
I have this much money. You want the same amount of money for this
Right.
building? Cool. Let's just, that was all the thought that
There
went
was
into
no
it.
strategy.
And it actually
or-
worked out quite fine, to be honest. We just sold it last year,
Really?
and I've had 5.5 years rent out of it. Didn't spend a penny on it the whole time, and I got the same amount of money back for it.
Right.
So essentially doubled my money
Double pay, I
in
paid
6
for
or
it.
7 years. So can't complain.
And that was a cash purchase, was it?
yeah. It was £29,000
Yeah.
at the time.
Right.
Right, okay.
Cheap and cheerful.
So that's kind of got your appetite going.
It was
a
the
wee bit.
rent. It was the rent every month, because at the time I was living in a flat, a little was it a 2-bedroom flat? I was paying like £450 a month for, and when I'm getting £375 from that, I'm like, fuck, my flat's free basically. I was like, no, £75, and I'm getting a pretty cool little flat that I had in the town.
So that was early 20s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
So how did it progress from there then?
Slowly for the next couple of years. Again, I didn't really have any education. Like, I'd spoken to Ian, my mate's dad, and he gave me a couple of little tidbits. Aim for a 10% yield. If you're buying, try and get 20% off. That was about the real gist of it. So I was aiming for that. I ended up buying a little 1-bedroom flat from Ian for 33 grand, I think it was. And he went and used that money to buy a little gyrocopter aeroplane thing to go and fly about. Rented that out. Again, slow process, because I was saving up in between every time. Kind of was like saving the money, spending it, saving the money, spending it. And then me and my dad bought another little commercial shop and renovated it into a 2-bedroom flat over the course of about 2 years. Right. So that gave me the 3 properties that over the space of maybe, I think it was about 5 or 6 years, we built this up. And I was like, we're getting the feet a wee bit. The income was maybe about 1,100-1,200 quid a month, and I was like, there's some in here that it's working in some sort of
Are
sense.
your dad on board with the stuff, with the property stuff now as well?
He helps, yeah. He helps out. It's my sort of my focus.
Yeah.
But he comes and helps whenever he can. He's got the landscaping business, so he does a lot of the work for us as well.
Right, good.
Externally, and then like concrete and stuff like that.
Would you say it was him? Was it yourself, you that got him involved? More, are you trying to kind of? Or was he into?
To be honest, it's not something we ever discussed or planned or nothing like that. I kind of I just did it myself to begin with. Like, I knew I wanted to do it, and I just cracked on with it. And then as it's kind of grown arms and legs, he's kind of taking more of an active part to help.
Yeah.
It's quite cool. I bet he's really proud as well to seeing the route I suppose you were going to kick you at the house and go, fuck, you're not coming welcome to the
I
house.
hope so, yeah.
To look at it and go,
'cause
I'm fucking helping my son build an empire. And
the amount of times we were physically fighting was unbelievable. Like, I explained it to folk, and even my girlfriend, when I first got with her, I was explaining some things, and she's like, she used to think I was chatting shit, and I'm like, nah, you have no idea. Like, it was rough.
Yeah.
So it's good to actually have a relationship with him now as well, because it was we didn't speak for a good while, probably a good couple of years when I moved out. Like, I wasn't interested, and we just didn't get on too great, to be honest. So it's good to change that and actually have a bit more of a positive relationship.
That's
That's
good.
been a good takeaway.
But you're saying the manual labour thing.
I'm not built for that. Like
Nah.
I don't mind working when I have to, but like if I have the choice, I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I'll just.
There's got to be smart. When you think about it, there's got to be smarter ways to make money.
Aye.
But I mean, I suppose back when our dads were at that age, social media is not there, education's not there. You can't see how to. There's not someone being that inspirational light to go, oh, I can fucking do that. You're just going to go and do what you've got in front of you, whether it be get a trade, get a skill, and work fucking hard for all your life.
I think a lot of it's access as well. Like you say, you don't have the access to information. You don't have access to different people. You don't have access to different ideas. So when traditionally, like you're saying, your dad's going, right, get a trade, be a joiner, be a chef, be this, be that. You'll never go wrong with a trade. That was good advice 20, 30 years ago. Whereas now, maybe not as great, or like certain trades. Do you know what I mean? Like,
when property prices per their wages was a better fucking return, now it's blown out the war. It's just not the same. We're not in the same world anymore.
No, not at all. Like, not at all. Everything's so expensive now.
So what was so after that few years then getting your 11-12 quid of cash flow, seeing that there's I suppose a penny dropping, going fucking there's something here. What was the next step? Like, was it?
I knew I needed more knowledge.
Yeah.
The knowledge was the thing I was lacking now. Like how to scale up, how to work finances better, how to manage refurbs a bit better. Like, there was really no real planning or anything that went into those properties. It was just kind of buy them, do them. That was about all the thought to it.
Yeah.
Fortunately enough, it worked. Like it wasn't horrendously, you know, I could have overspent, I could have done like a lot of things wrong. It worked out fair enough for being a guess. But my biggest thing was getting educated. So since that was about May 21, we finished them. So that's 2.5 years now. And then I've been doing a lot of education stuff with Paul McFadden.
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest thing for me, to be honest. That is getting the right information and getting a bigger network and stuff as well.
That's good, eh? It's key. I think we have this conversation a lot on the podcast. It's fucking key to get the education
100%.
and be around the right people that open your mind up to what's possible.
Yeah. It's even just not being around so many naysayers. Like, see, you'll tell someone your idea and they've got a problem for every solution.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're like, do you know what? I'm just going to stop speaking to these people about these ideas, and I'd rather take them to this person who's maybe going to nurture it a wee bit or offer you some help. Or, do you know what I mean? Something. You'll have something positive to say instead of going, the market, the interest
I used to
rates,
always find it really, really bad with the naysayers, because I used to always think like, that's the fucking hater, that's the one that's trying to put you down. And then when you look at it from their point of view, it's just their limiting beliefs. Yeah. They're trying to project that onto you. Yeah. Why can you not buy that? But why could, because this, that, the next thing, they're going to put on what they think. And then that's not necessarily what you think because of the path you've walked.
Especially in the beginning as well, you're kind of doubting yourself as well a wee bit. So you're in your own mind, you're going, is it going to work? Can I really do this? And then you've got someone else going, is it really going to work? And you're like, well, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm already saying this to myself. I don't need you backing it up. Like, that was the biggest thing for me. So cutting out a lot of that was quite beneficial as well.
What did the education help you the most then? Like if there was a
finance, to be honest, finance was a big thing for me. Due diligence, actually doing some due diligence instead of just buying and hoping. Yeah. Building a network, raising a lot of private finance, that's been a big thing for me as well the last year or so. And putting myself out on social media. I was never, even things like this, podcast, social media. I only got social media in 2020. Right. I hated it. I hated what it did. I hated how everyone was scrolling. I hated the way I see it with my sisters as well, the trends that they get hooked up in and like and I'm just like, it's frying your head. Like it's genuinely frying your head. And then after COVID, because my sister hadn't been at school for so long and she'd only been communicating through the phone because obviously lockdown, we went out for lunch one day and the waitress come over and she's like, taking everyone's order. And my sister looks at me, looks down at the phone and goes, you order mine. And I was going, look at the lassie in the eyes and order your food. That's mental, and she's just like, boom, looking down. And I was like, you're fucked. Like, you're fried. And because of that, this
is a big thing for me now. Like, I genuinely, my brother drives me nuts, but Sam drives me nuts. Like, I tore into Sam the other day and we're having a meeting, like, you'll post a story and they'll check who's viewing or you'll check or you'll scroll, you go through stories and I'm like, what the fuck? The fucking you're addicted to it. Like, you're addicted to the shit that's on there. Now, I get from a business point of view, we need it and it's that necessarily evil, but it's frying people's fucking brains. Like, 100%. To the point where like, fuck.
That was the biggest thing that come to grips with me is one, I didn't like it, one, I didn't want to use it and I wasn't comfortable using it either. But then as I started using it a bit more and getting a bit of traction, the business and everything that came off the back of it just went crazy and I was like, fuck, I need this. Yeah, I'm like, fuck, why is this tagged? Why can't like...
You need it, man.
It's so beneficial.
Such a powerful tool for building your brand as well.
Definitely.
It's something that... Sorry, I was going to say something that came up last night at the networking event about, because we were talking about a bit of personal growth stuff and all that as well, about being like more present and stuff with people, which is what you were just talking about if you're going out for dinner with somebody and they're just on the phone all the time. One thing that I'm trying to get better at is seeing the house. Obviously, when you're trying to pay attention to the kids and stuff, you won't have this problem. I presume you've not got kids.
No, not yet.
You'll understand this is when you get distracted with your phone and stuff and you start scrolling and then Maya or someone's trying to ask you a question.
She calls me on it.
Yeah.
And I feel
like,
terrible.
Wait a minute or something like that. You're trying to reply to somebody. So now what I do is I don't do this all the time, but I do it sometimes. I come in and I'm thinking, right, I leave the phone in the car outside. And then you can't get to the phone, so it actually does help. I read in a book somewhere. So
I can't leave the phone in the car because it's my fucking car key, so somebody can run away with the Tesla. But I get the concept.
But yeah, in a drawer or something.
Leave it out of the way. But we've discussed this before. Like, it is so hard to be present in the moment of that when the phone's so accessible. Your emails, your fucking bookkeeping, your social media, everything's just there to be replied to.
Everything straight on the minute. And if you're waiting on something, or if you're expecting a reply, or you're speaking to 5 people at once, and it's like. It's mad.
It's quick information, but then it's also we're obviously all using it for a positive benefit, but it can be a huge drawback.
When did you go on the property course then?
I did that in May 2021.
Nice. Was that a big decision financially? Was that quite a chunk of cash you had to put in that?
No, it wasn't like it was,
Because there's different. I mean, I'm not going into it too much, but obviously with most property education, you can go on the kind of like the short course, which is like the 2 or 3 grand, but then you can go on the kind of bigger one, which could be up to 20 grand in some cases. So which one did you opt for?
I did the very first one, just the base package. We went down, I think it was a 3-day course at the time. And
Had you invested money before in doing it, like educate yourself?
Not a penny, other than buying books. Not a penny.
Did you think about it, or did you just know it was fucking for you?
I did. And I discussed it with my girlfriend because I was. It's same. You see someone online, you're like, this is a fucking scam. You're like, I'm way to get robbed here. I'm no way to like. And I hummed and hayed, and I did. There was a free online course, and I did the online course. And because I already had kind of an idea and I had a few properties, when we did that, I picked up a few nuggets, and I was like, oh, that's what I'm actually needing, and oh, that's what I'm looking for, and oh, this like. So I was like, it does actually suit me. And then as I did the course, the information I got, what I was able to take away and use it for, and then within 4 months, I'd already bought another 3 properties. So what took me 5 years, I managed to do in 4 months after, and I was like, well, there's fucking proof of concept anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, for me anyway.
No, I agree. That's that.
What have you found really beneficial from that? And has there been one specific thing? I mean, I know you talked about loads of things, social media, private finance, but is there one thing that's really propelled you in a different mindset?
It's probably communication like this. This was what I was lacking. I used to purposely segregate myself. I didn't want to be around people, hate people. Oh, I'm not doing that, I'm not going there, I'm not saying this. And that limited everything I could do because I only knew 50 people, 5 people. I had my wee bubble and I wasn't willing to go out with it. So the biggest thing for me was stepping outside that bubble, going to networking events, doing podcasts, going to seminars, going to all these different things, meeting different people. And everything's kind of came off the back of that for me. Then you're getting your private finance. Then you're getting, oh, that deal came from there. Oh, we've JV'd with this guy because I met him there. Like everything kind of came off the back of that. So the biggest thing for me was getting out my own way and just putting myself out there, to be honest. Like
that's quite interesting.
In person and on social media.
Yeah.
Continuing your property portfolio building, then where are you at now then?
We've just secured our 10th unit there.
Right.
We've got
commercial or residential or
at the minute they're all residential.
Yeah.
All residential. We've got 6 buy-to-lets and 6 buy-to-lets. 3 that we've just purchased are going to get refurbished, refinanced, and then onto serviced accommodation. And then the last one's a flip.
Superb.
And are they all round about Montrose then?
Montrose, Brecon and Arbroath. All in Angus.
Okay. And obviously one of the questions that springs to mind is the SA strategy that you're pursuing. How you find the licensing? Have you come across that? Have you started putting in applications?
We're literally just we're away to start that now. So you have to apply for a temporary license, which is like 6 weeks, and then you renew that until your actual license is through.
Come through, right?
From what I can gather, speaking to different people, I think Angus is relatively lenient. They're not as strict as other people. Yeah. So, but that's about all I've got. That's as far as I've gotten.
What's your target market for these units then?
Contractors, especially with Montrose. There's the big oil presence. There's the port development. It's quite central between like Dundee and Aberdeen for things like that, and then Beacon's got the dual
quite a lot of oil and gas companies in Montrose, isn't there? Like Halliburton and stuff.
There's a lot of development going on as well. Like over the next sort of 5-10 years, there's a lot of planned development going.
Flats or houses for these SA units?
2 or 3 bedroom flats contained. So there's a shop on the bottom, and then 2 3-bedroom flats that we've got the entirety of, apart from the shop, and then the other one's a 5-bedroom house that we're going to convert.
I saw that one that you posted actually the other day. So is that the flats above? On the first floor, and the garages on the ground floor.
Double garages and then a flat above, and an end terrace building. So the flat's 81 square metres, so total it'll be 162 square metres when it's done.
So how much did you purchase that for them? What was the number?
90 grand.
Nice, it's a good
90 grand.
Purchase
End market, we're looking at 230, but likely 250.
Yeah.
And then the refurb's about 100.
Nice.
So a decent profit margin there.
Is that going to do we got a company late on that one, or is it planned to just do individual?
I've got a company there that do supply like long-term contracts. So if we can get a long-term contract, then we'll just ship it out to them. They can take their cut. If we can't get a long-term contract, we'll probably just manage it ourselves and do it that way, just to kind of keep the cost down.
And is the idea to try and recycle as much cash out of those deals
in the beginning
after refurbishment?
Yeah, in the beginning it was because I had a limited cash pot, so I needed I needed to stretch it as far as I can. Obviously, you know, but as we've done more flips and as we've made a bit more money, I'm not as tight on it now. Like I don't mind leaving a bit of money tied up in an asset because I know it's going to generate 20 grand a year. So I'm not too asked. Whereas in the beginning I was kind of every penny was a prisoner. But as we've gotten a bit more comcomfortable, then I'm kind of a bit looser with it now.
I think that's so important, like you're saying as well, like the mixing of the strategies, because folk are obsessed with building a portfolio or but the slightest bit overspend on the refinance or your site getting robbed, like fucking knocks you back. Do you know what I mean? Like leaves $5,000 and leaves $10,000, and if you're trying to get 3, 4, 5 properties every year, that's an extra $50,000 you need to find just to leave in your deals. So to talk about like you're doing flips and doing other parts of your business, I think that's the missing piece for a lot of people.
I was just trying to kind of, each strategy has its purpose for me. Yeah. So like my rentals, my buy to lets, that's the money I live off of. Pays all my general bills, stuff like that. Do a little bit of sourcing on the side that pays sort of business expenses, fuel, marketing, blah blah blah. Flips, when we take the chunks from the flips, they just get re-put into more flips, or we'll take a chunk of that out and buy some more rentals. So everything kind of has its point. Like
they all circle into each other, but they all serve a purpose.
Yeah.
So when did you give up the job? So you're not working anymore?
So I had a plant hire business. Right. When did we open that? 2018. Nice. When I got paid off from offshore, went back to working with my dad in a landscaping company. Right. And kept hearing everyone saying there's no plant hire, there's no diggers, there's no dumpers. The company that was doing it, they shifted, they started doing like cranes and stuff like that. So between Dundee and Aberdeen, there was no one doing that to service the developers and the tradies. So I went and bought an old shitey digger, excuse me, an old shitey digger and trailer for $6,000. It was like a 20-year-old thing, rattly, scabby, horrible looking thing. And I was dropping that off whilst I was working with my dad in the morning and picking it up at night. Right. And then I had the wee shop as well. So I had the digger making money, the shop making money, and I was getting my wages. And I was like, shit, like I'm making a decent amount of money off the digger in the shop, yet I'm having to go to work every day still. So that went on for about a year, got my money back from the digger, and I decided to buy another one. Just as I bought the other one, that's kind of when COVID kicked in. Right. Prices for machines shot through the roof. Everyone was stuck at home, doing like man caves, garden sheds, like all that sort of stuff, doing a lot of development work at home. And we just ended up going crazy with the plant hire. We went from 2 machines to 10 machines in the space of about a year and a half.
Did you?
Yeah, we had a nice big depot, had a couple of guys on staff, a couple of vehicles on the road, 10 machines out rented. We were doing groundworks and tree surgery and things like that as well. And it was
wait a minute, these diggers are no cheap. So how did you finance them?
Sold my car.
Bounce back loans.
Took all my money. No, that's the one thing I did not actually. That's the one thing. The amount of folk I heard seeing that, taking $50,000 and closing the company, I'm like, you dodgy bastards.
So you obviously you can get finance on these things, obviously.
Yeah. So the first one was
how much is a digger?
Typically the ones we were buying between 50 and 20 grand. Right. Depending. They were just smaller diggers. They weren't
many diggers for like landscaping and all that.
Exactly. So the first one was $6,000, that was an old one. Second one was about 6 or 8, again, it was another old one. Same as the property, I was like, shit, I can't keep buying these cash. I was like, I don't have the fucking money. So I was like, we're going to have to go new and just put a deposit down. Yeah. So I went in and got a price for 2 more diggers and 2 small dumpers. And I was sure about $8,000 deposit. And I was like, do you know what, fuck it. I sold my car at the time and sunk all the money into that. And within about 2-3 months, the money had already came back from the rentals. So I managed to go and get myself another car. I was like, that worked out quite fine.
What was your daily rate on the plant hire? So like even your $6,000 and $8,000 diggers, what do you hire them out for?
So in the beginning, the first one we did, I'm sure it was £60 a day or £70 a day. Again, it was an older digger, so you couldn't really take the piss with the price. As we got the newer machines, the prices creeped up, and then went up going VAT registered and deliveries and blah blah blah, everything else like that. But we were averaging about 80-90 quid for a digger per day. Right. Same for the dumpers.
Was that still going, or did you?
No. I sold all that off April last year.
Was that just too much manual for you again, having to deliver them?
I wasn't actually doing much work, to be honest. It was just, see the stress. It was unbelievable. And it was, the way I look at it now, it was like the cost of the interactions. I would be having 50 interactions a day. Some of them for 30 quid, some of them for 40 quid, some of them for 80 quid. And then when you start getting problems from all and you're like, I'm having way too many interactions for not enough money. Right. Like we were making money, but the stress and the hassle, I was like, I could put the same effort and take the same stress.
You're getting calls and you're going like, oh, not again.
I had anxiety. See, when my phone would go, I wouldn't even pull it out of my pocket because I'm like, I can't be arsed with this. It's just going to be another.
What is it, just like maintenance breakdowns? Like this is no
hoses busting, this is gone, the tracks, and it's a 2-minute job, but you're having to drive 40 minutes to go and do it, and it's just a nightmare. And it was good. It was good. It just wasn't suited for what I wanted to do.
Did it give you some cash to go and invest?
Yeah. So obviously we were paying down the machines as we were going, and I managed to make a bit of money. So sold everything. I think the machines were worth about 120 grand in the end. By the time we'd paid all the finance, I walked away with about 50 grand. Right. So it worked out all right. It wasn't
and decent cash flow business as well.
But now you've not got another job aside from property, or
no. So I was running this at the same time that I did the training, and I had the 3 flats. And then when I came out of the training and I bought another 3 flats, the portfolio was making enough money that I could cover my bills. Right. And I was like, right, so I can take this and get away and take all that time and then focus on my property business.
Right.
So
And
that was
if-
the aim for me.
Have the higher interest rates affected your cash flow for that at all?
Not particularly. I had 5
Yeah.
years. There was one of them that I didn't have locked in at a 5 year. That was a little 1-bedroom flat, 37.5 grand loan, went from £64 to £200 a month.
Right.
So it tripled in price. The rest of them are locked in for 5 years.
Cool.
So we'll slowly creep the rents up before they come
Aye,
in.
but your rents are going to go up accordingly
exactly.
anyway. Aye, so
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
We
brilliant.
can catch that, hopefully.
And what would you say you're more, would you say you do have a passion for property? Do you enjoy it? Or would you say...
My favourite part is taking something really shit and making it look nice. I love the transformation of it. That's my
does
biggest
that
thing.
fit into your the flip strategy and stuff like that? Do you like doing the flips?
I do.
Out of all
I
them?
do. I like them all, to be honest. I like all strategies. I think they've all got their place. Personally, I would say the flip's the most rewarding.
Do you stage your properties?
We're going to stage this one that we're doing. I've not staged any so far,
Right.
but we are planning on doing this
Not
one.
felt like you've had to. So how many flips have you done? Is this your-
This is the fourth one in the last year.
nice.
Is it fourth?
Brilliant.
Third or fourth? Yeah, fourth.
That Rolf one with
Yeah,
Dave. How,
yeah.
That's the one that they had the robbery. I know
Yeah.
you like to dwell on stuff. But they had a site break in
was that?
last week.
That was literally, I went in on the 1st of January
What
just
did
to
they
check
take?
up half a kitchen. So all the integrated appliances, they took the fridge, freezer, the sink, the cooker, the hob, the hood, and all the doors. But they've left everything else. It just makes no sense.
Any leads from the get?
There's
No.
nothing. And they couldn't even get any. There was like a footprint on the door, but by the time the police got out to do the forensic and stuff, the rain had washed it away, and there's not going to really be much from it, to be honest.
How did they get in?
There's a little door, so there's it's like a log shed, coal shed type thing on the back of the house that gives you access in, but you have to go through the shed door.
Right.
So they kicked in a shed door, and then they went through like a partition wall that we built. Didn't find anything in the house to take, so they then went into the garage and then took the stuff out the garage.
Is that Montrose?
Arbroath, that one. Arbroath.
It's a fucking sister.
Would you moving forward? Have you thought of any? Is there any security? Anything you can do? To kind of protect yourself?
That's the only thing we thought is
Sites?
get one of those Wi-Fi dongles, because if you don't have power,
Aye.
we didn't have electric there, so how are you going to get Wi-Fi? How are you going to plug anything in? So we thought like a Wi-Fi dongle with the ring doorbell.
Yeah.
It's about short of like bolting everything
But
up.
you
and
need the
bolting.
Wi-Fi connection.
But you get the little
Dongle.
SIM card. Aye.
Yeah. Because you had issues.
I was saying to him when Dave told me about it last week. It was the same time that I had the break in, the exact same day from the year Aberdeen.
They just timed it, because our painter was in on the.
They know that fucking people were empty.
29th. Aye. He was on the 29th
Keep an
until
eye on
1
it.
o'clock, and then I went on the first about 2 o'clock, so there was a 48-hour window.
Aye.
And that's when
Thing though, for the sake of a washing machine and
it was £2,000 worth of kitchen material that's only useful if you have the rest
kitchen.
of it. Like, you need the rest of it for it to be useful. So it's
surely
like,
worthless to them.
Aye, like it just made no sense.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know, did you see your mindset? Because I've quite often, I'm not too bad about this now, but that sort of thing would really get me down, and I'd be like that for days. I'd be looking on eBay and Gumtree and all that, trying to track them down. I'll get these bastards.
Yeah.
That. But how was your mindset? Did you manage to just shake it off?
To be
and move
honest,
on?
I didn't sounds horrible to say, but I didn't really care.
Aye, that's good.
It's just get on with it.
good,
Like,
just
it's
get
an
on
extra
with it.
expense. Let's just buy. I ordered the
I've
new
managed
stuff
to
the
get to
same
that
day.
point now, but I used to
Yeah.
get really down about these things. But you just got to roll on with it.
It's one of
Business
those, like,
expense.
you get used to stuff. Yeah, like it's just one of those things. Like shit happens. Life goes on.
But these are the things that they don't tell you in the courses.
Aye.
So
The reality of property, isn't it?
Yeah, this is
What's the numbers looking like on that one then? That's quite an interesting project, isn't
The
it?
Arbroath flip.
Yeah.
So purchased that at 115. I think it was 123, including fees, stamp duty, legals, whatever else. About 65 in on the refurb. We're expecting to be finished in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I think total we're looking at about 195, including the staging, and we're expecting a 250 valuation on that.
Nice.
So nice chunk of change.
Yeah, that could be one. Yeah.
brilliant.
And extra $2,000 for the fucking kitchen replacement.
How kind of what sort of level do you go to in terms of the finish and stuff like that? Because it's easy to get carried away with blowing the budget. Isn't
You
it?
can
Do you know what I
definitely
mean?
get carried away.
What's your
but
tips for people to try and stick to budget?
you can also make things look really nice without spending money if you just know where to spend the money.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you don't have to go and get the most high-end 15, 20 grand kitchen. Just pick a nice kitchen.
Yeah.
Maybe tile the floors instead of lino, more tiling in the bathroom as opposed to wet wall.
Yeah.
Just different, there's little things you can do,
Well,
nothing too major.
I mean, with you having the landscaping background as well, and your dad being a landscaping, that's going to be a huge benefit because fucking landscaping,
pricey.
that's got to be one of the most costly things ever, isn't it?
It's
And it's probably something it's at the back of your, it's not the forefront of your mind doing your figures, is it? When you actually go into a project.
People always leave the landscape to the end, and then it's almost like, oh, the budget's gone, fuck, we'll just put some seeds down. It's like, nah, it
has to look presentable.
The landscape needs to look good, like needs to look special now as well. I was speaking to Dave on the tips as well, and like when you're saying like about you don't need to spend extra money to make it look good, and people always think like, oh, why the fuck are you putting herringbone flooring in it or something on a flip that maybe doesn't justify it. But when you look at like an entrance hall that's 6 square meters and herringbone flooring costs you £40 a square meter, you're like, oh, why would you spend £40 a square meter? Laminate's £15 a square meter. So the difference is an extra few £100, but it looks so much fucking better. Like someone comes into that hall and sees that flooring and the quality of the door that you've put in that was £50 more, but it's hardly any difference in the budget, but it just makes it a quality product.
Things you'll notice that other people don't as well. Like folk are always coming in going, oh, this is lovely, this is that door's brilliant, and I'm like, that's the cheapest door you can buy. I'm like, but we've painted it and we've put a nice handle on it. So
we touch a nice handle.
You're doing pretty much full refurbs on these.
For the flips,
flips.
Apart from one of them, the rest of them have been pretty much back to brick. So just taking the shell, taking it right back to the brick, new concrete floors, new framing, insulation, just rewired, full shebang basically.
You doing any work yourself?
Yeah. As and when.
Are you managing the refurbs in on them?
Yeah. This one I have, because there wasn't quite enough. Like I would have preferred to negotiate a bit down, but we settled on the price we did. The other one I just gave that to my builder, and then the 5-bedroom with a bit of work on, I'll just be giving that to my builder as well, because it's time consuming. It's
absolutely.
A lot, and like trying to juggle everyone is just a nightmare.
You got a decent builder up in the area that can take on the full
So
lot.
guy I use, Stuart Hill, he's brilliant. He's got all trades. His old boy's got a groundworks company. He's got the joinery side, and he's got all his subbies and stuff, and he's on the ball. Like, he's brilliant. It's
good when you get the team like that could take on the full project. Like
that's what folk are always scrimping and saving on trades as well. And it's like, see if you actually find a good tradesman, the amount of things he's taught me and the amount of things that I notice now because he's pointed out, or we went to view a few different projects, and he's like, well, what about this and what about that, and that'll cost this, and I'm like, oh, you can't, I didn't notice that. You just saved me a good chunk of change there.
I think like if you could find a good builder like that, you could almost treat them as that, like almost like a JV partner. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a relationship that's really valuable 100%. Because the stress, like you saying, trying to manage subcontractors, all just the timing, trying to get it all in sync, and then things don't work out, and then you're lying for a week, the property's just lying empty for a week, doing absolutely nothing. You're losing
and you're not focused on another part of your business, which is to go and find the next deal.
Exactly.
Like you're sitting there fucking about in this site trying to organise
Talking
materials.
About finding deals, what's your kind of strategy there, and what's been working for you?
Nah, to be honest, I've social media again. A lot of folk just reaching out, seeing what we're doing, going, oh, my granny's selling this, my uncle's selling that, I've got this, or blah blah blah. I've inherited it, things like that.
Right.
Really good relationships with the agents in the area, so letting agents and estate agents.
Have you built up a wee bit of a reputation and a name for yourself? We're trying to.
I would say trying to. I don't know if I have or not yet. Well, that's still to be decided, but trying to.
They're quite small like places. They're not huge places. What's our growth population?
Like 20,000, maybe even less, 15 I would think.
So there won't be like a hope. It's not like, I suppose, you jump in an area in Glasgow where loads of people are doing training, there's fucking loads of people doing it. You're maybe.
I come down here and I think if I lived in Glasgow and was doing property, I'd leave. Because there's just too many folk, and I'm like, how are you supposed to ever
That's
get
the danger though, because like when you built up a reputation for yourself when you were 15 and you were a wee scallywag, you walk into a local estate agent, just like, there's that wee bastard.
He smashed our fucking Mondays.
There is that, to be honest. Do you know, the biggest thing I've found with that is a lot of folk, old pals and old folk I used to go to school with, they've got this idea of me in the head. And this is I'm a different person now. So they can't compute. They're like, the two people don't compute.
Is that forced you to change your circles?
I still have the same pals. Some of them. Other friends have been left behind.
They'll just leave.
Other friends have made the same choices. Open businesses, doing other things, investing in different things as well. The same sort of mindset. So I've still got friends that I've been friends with for 20 years, 25 years. I've got other friends.
Ones that have changed.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the biggest point for me. But I've made a lot of new friends as well, which has been helpful.
I find that funny as well. Like even when I do like the workshops and that, and you'll be seeing people that are dying to do what I'm doing. They're trying to copy, and I'm like, mate, just pay the couple of grand for the workshop, and they won't ask you a question. They're like, but they still remember me as a little dickhead that was fucking about. It's like, but I'm not that same person I was 20 years ago. Like I'm different, but no one's wanting to almost treat you that same person. I suppose it's like
their idea of you is not your idea of you.
Yeah,
they've got you in this little box of where you used to be, and you're like, well, that's just you're 10 years late.
Do you come from quite a small town?
Yeah.
Where'd you grow
up? Kirkcaldy in Fife. And then moved up to Cooper.
So what's the kind of focus, what really gets you excited then about kind of the future and the kind of strategies you want to pursue and the kind of goal? I feel like, have you sat down this year and done goals, or?
I do them April to April, so I do financial years.
Right, okay.
Normally, I don't know why, I just got in the habit of it.
Yeah.
I've always got a couple of finance goals for myself, a couple of fitness goals, a couple of personal goals, and that's about it really, to be honest. So this year my fitness one's where I'm needing to get double golds at comp.
There we go.
For jiu-jitsu.
Oh, wait a minute, this is getting into hey, there's something that I'll let you guys have a wee talk about that then.
Aye, that's good goal. Aye, we're not talking about runners. We've had fucking Matt Shannon and Andy Janetta on today, and now we're talking about a real sport, a man's fucking sport.
So is this Brazilian
Jiu-Jitsu? Yeah. Aye, so you're competing this year.
Yeah, so I just competed in December there.
Nice.
But absolutely fucking roasted. Like, it was awful. You know, like you can't always win. This is one of the things that I like about jiu-jitsu, because it applies to life as well. Do you know what I mean? You learn these lessons.
What problem you escape in a different position, or
100%,
what problem
you can do one thing right, but you'll get caught there. Right, cool. So how do I avoid that? Right, I go that way. Right, well, you got caught there. Right, how do I avoid that? Like, it just makes you think, and it makes you plan ahead a little bit. So that's what I like about it. But no, I'm wanting to get double golds. I got gold. I got roasted at that last comp. The one before, I got gold for my no-gi. Thought I was going to get that last one, and just didn't turn out the way I wanted. And then the next one, I'm wanting to get a sub-only match booked as well.
Nice, like the SGI or something,
Yeah, something like that, SGI or just whatever else, invitational type things, and wanting to get one of them done before April as well.
Does that take up a lot of your time then, training and stuff like that?
5 nights a week and then a Saturday morning. On average,
commitment.
I get maybe like 8 or 9 sessions a week between that and weightlifting. So depending on
cram in, mate. Cram in.
I have to.
When did you get involved in that? From a young age, or
no? So I started doing Muay Thai first, to be honest, with a guy that I used to train with, and then I moved to a different gym. I was still doing a bit of Muay Thai. Did my first jiu-jitsu class. Got folded up by like a little 60-kilo woman, and I was like, I'm maybe missing a trick here. So the last year I focused just on my jiu-jitsu. Up until then, I'd done a lot of MMA and a lot of Muay Thai as well, but my grappling just wasn't there. So I wanted to spend the last year getting that up to scratch a wee bit, and I feel like I've made quite a good progress, to be fair, over the last year.
How does it work with the weightlifting? Does it just go in terms of like literally how heavy you can lift? Is that how?
It just depends. I kind of change it about a wee bit. I try to do it more like supplementary. So like I'm not looking to be like one of these big beasts that's just massive. Like I need to have explosive power. I need to be quick. I need to have good cardio. I need to have endurance. So I kind of try and tailor it around that as well. So it's not so much like bodybuilding stuff. It's more like maybe some circuits or like Olympic lifts, some like explosive stuff.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, is it like literally when you see these guys at the Olympics doing the kind of
some stuff like that? That's good for like compound stuff, like all body stuff. But I just mix it up, to be honest. Just a little bit of everything. I've been doing a lot of plyometrics recently, which is like what you see like footballers doing, like changing directions, jumping boxes, and just different things like that for getting a bit more quick.
How would you find juggling everything between training quite intensely, the business, having the missus, and having a bit of life as well?
I don't have a life.
Nah.
I don't have a life. All I do is work and train.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think it's to my detriment, but I've had family members and stuff they're like, oh, we can never get a hold of you, we can never do this, and all you ever do is work and train. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's what I want to do. All I need to do is work and train. That's my only two.
How do you think they would describe you? A selfish bastard.
You find a few folk
I took my missus away to the local standards to set goals, and I've never really I have mentioned the goals and what's going on in the business, but I said, look, I'll take away for a night, we'll go away and we'll chat, and I'll get you right on the vision board, right? And she's obviously your wife will take the fucking opportunity to pull up you on your negative shit, right? So she says something about just like a wee bit more hand around the house and stuff. And I goes, I'll fucking hold you right there. I ain't.
Just get a cleaner.
Like as I said, we've had this conversation a few years ago. I ain't. Fucking simple as that. And then I explained it to her. I says, I take Maya to school every day. I pick her up. I fucking train, teach jiu-jitsu, and I work. I leave the house at 6:30 in the morning. I didn't switch off till 10 o'clock most nights. Nothing. I've not got any time for anything else. If I sat and watched Netflix for a couple of hours, moan at me.
Fair enough.
If I went to the pub for a couple of hours, moan at me. Kelly does. But I said, if I'm not doing fuck all, then you can moan at me. I'll pull my weight, but I'm not.
50-50 in a house.
But
I have to be
50-50 if you do 18-hour fucking days.
Yeah.
Your wife doesn't do 18-hour days.
My missus does everything around the house as well. Like, very.
There's the feminist going to come in and fucking shut the fuck up because he knows Lisa will fucking tear him.
I say here, man, because on it.
Come on, agree with me.
Down a rabbit hole.
Wasn't always like that for us, to be fair. My girlfriend broke her shoulder last year doing jiu-jitsu, And
train as well.
Yeah, and
Nice.
she ended up having to give up her business, and she went through like she had to get surgery and recovery and stuff like that. So ever since she's been back at like at home and not working, like we used to be 50-50 as well.
Yeah.
See it's so much better. See the difference. Like we used to argue, the house was only getting cleaned a couple of days a week. We didn't get time to see each other. Like we were both stressed about work. See now she's at home full time. Brilliant. Best thing we've ever done. Housework's all done. She's happy. She's got more time. I'm just doing work. It sounds terrible, but honestly, I swear down. It's.
Do you know, I like that.
Housework's done. She's happy. Let's bring it on. Bring it on.
It's what works for you in your life. Like my wife works full time. She's got a new promotion and she's excited about her job. She does work full time, but my business supplements the way I live my life.
Aye.
So she doesn't do the school runs. I do the school runs. Like that means I'm fucking doing less work during the day and have to work more at night to catch up with the shit I've missed during the day and catch up with stuff. So it's balanced now.
It's flexibility as well. It's
flexibility,
having your business is you can do what you want to do and you can make things work around your life instead of you having to fit it around work. That's the bonus, isn't it?
Fucking hero dad over here does the school run.
I fucking do it actually.
Hero.
And we're talking about like the goal set and stuff like that. It's one of these things. It's just putting the standards on. This is what I want to do, and I'm fucking doing it. And you feel that guilt when you don't, or if I don't pick up, I'm not picking up mine today on a Thursday when we do the podcast.
What about just listening? I'm going to defend Kelly here, right? What about just listening to her needs? And her needs are that she wants you to help around the house more.
I mean, my needs, my
needs are not that. Wait a minute, it's not about her needs.
My solution is fucking simple. I've got a business that can pay for a cleaner. Get a cleaner.
Yeah,
I'm very much of that mindset as well. It's like I've not done washing since about 6 or 7 years. I've not ironed a piece of clothing.
Cleaner's a good investment, actually.
100%.
Do you know what? We'll probably all come from a fucking similar background where our parents, if we said, maybe not you grow up with entrepreneurial parents to a certain extent, but if we said, bring in a cleaner, your mum would fucking, you clean your own fucking house.
My mum frowned on it. Definitely.
So it's almost like our wives will have that same opinion, and it's trying to change that narrative to we've got businesses to run, we've got a busy life's busier now. Fucking get cleaning, do it. But that's a business.
Putting your time where it's better used, isn't it? Like
I argued with my wife the other day about it, and she's like, she'll spend a lot of the day on a Saturday like cleaning. I'm like, why? That's family that you've worked hard all week. Why do you want to spend that time doing it? Go and get something and we'll go out for the fucking family day. But it's that mindset shift. We're going down a fucking rabbit hole with this, and we're going to get something to stick on this.
I get dogs
get the wives
abuse.
back in the kitchen.
I get dogs abuse at home because I don't forward think. My head space for some reason I can't like because she's always thinking, right, what do I need to do for the kids? What do I need to get for the kids? All this stuff. I can only focus on one thing at a time. Like women are amazing at multitasking. Like
you're fucking 100% on the money. I knew I was taking Maya to school, dropping her off in the morning, had the podcast. I'm out all day. My mum's got her today.
Yeah, and you can't think.
But Kelly's already packed a bag for gymnastics. Is sitting there. She's left to keep my mum. She's done that. I'm like, oh right, it's unboxed. Like thank fuck for that. Someday follow our plans are that bit better. That's good.
We'll try and keep our female listeners here. So let's move on.
Do we have female listeners?
Yeah.
All right.
No,
not after an hour. Somebody actually said last night in the event, like, we need more females in this podcast. So if any females want to come on the podcast and share their success and what they're up to, you just don't feel like you're
absolutely
you're an imposter syndrome. Come on and enjoy the story.
Of super successful women in property, and I think they're more approachable.
There's a lady that knew you last night that was chatting actually. Her and her husband, both from Dundee.
Emma and Mark Laurenti.
No, I don't think it was. I think I saw them online. It wasn't them. It was someone that they were saying. But they were really cool. Aye.
There's been times I've went to viewings and the sellers are a bit iffy, and I'll take the missus along with me. And I'm like, they'll speak to you.
Softens it.
They think I'm just in here trying to get a deal. They'll actually speak to you and they'll be nice. And the amount of times that's worked for me has been brilliant. Yeah. Like, they're just women are more approachable though, and like I think anyway. Yeah. So especially in that sort of situation, I'll always take the missus. I'm like, right, cool, you go and speak to them. I'll go around and take my notes and that. I'm like, right, cool.
So what's 29? What's the plan for you for the next kind of few years?
My plan for the next few years is just work. Just work as much as I can, train as much as I can, build a portfolio, build the income. Like my main aim is build the portfolio and build the income. It's never going to be passive, but
what's the goal then? What's the bigger why to kind of just live life on your terms, or
just freedom. That's always been I just want to make my own decisions every day. I want to wake up and know that everything I'm doing is because something I've chose to do. I'm going to work because I want to. I'm going to training because I want to. I'm speaking on this podcast because I want to. I just have this thing in my head. I can't be told what to do.
The fear of fucking being forced to do something because you need to. Aye.
It's almost detrimental to the point, like my missus will say, "Oh, you probably shouldn't do that," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to do that now." I'm like, "Fuck!" I just can't help myself. It's so bad, but like, I just like to build my life around what I want to do and having the freedom of option. That's the biggest thing for me is choice.
It's good, eh? Like get rid of the shackles of fucking society and what constrains us. And I'm assuming like starting a family in the future as well. Like,
so we're actively trying right now.
Does that play into the bigger picture as well, that you can be present as a dad and stuff as well?
It's something I was always really against. I never wanted to be a dad. I didn't. The more I think about it now, the older I get, I think I wasn't confident in my abilities to be a dad. I didn't think I would measure up. So I was always like, I'm not even going to try. Probably a bad mentality. But as I've kind of grown and developed and grown up a wee bit.
If more guys had fucking that mentality, wouldn't it be as much little asshole on a bit?
I don't know, I was just always terrified of having a kid and fucking them up. I didn't want to be that guy that's just like, just fucking the kids up for no good reason, do you know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure I was comfortable mentally, emotionally and financially before I made that commitment.
That's interesting. That's
taken me nearly 30 years to get there.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Slowly but surely.
We chat this with fucking have guests on that have kids as well. Like I'm fighting myself right now. We went through IVF to have Maya, so we've having one kid, that's it. So I'm so fucking pressurised to not fuck her up. And we were chatting about this other day. Aye, one shot, that's it. She's a little arsehole, I fucked it. And we were talking about giving your kid pocket money, and I'm refusing to. And so this is the new argument now. There's like, what the fuck? Like, if I give her pocket money, I'm teaching her the habits it's taken me flipping 30 years to shake, that you have to trade your time and effort for money to get rewarded. How the fuck can I change that narrative and not give them pocket money for doing the efforts, but then not make them a spoiled lot of shit?
But you want them to put the effort in to get stuff. It's catch-22,
so I'm sitting there going, we're not doing it yet until I figure this out.
So you don't want to shackle them and go,
hard bastards.
Your fucking kid was trying to get 1,300 quid off you for a TV station.
He ended up getting it as well.
Did he do your social media?
No, we're trying to get him to do a few wee jobs just in return, but it's
fucking 20 quid to get him.
That's cash from last night today.
He's like
that's what I miss about the plant. Nothing better than a wee cash.
It's been really good having you on. Actually, a great chat. Thanks so much for taking the time.
That was a great chat. Good, and all the best to you. Looking forward to following your projects.
Where can people reach out to you or follow what you're up to?
So just online. So you'll get me LinkedIn and Facebook is Taylor McDonald, and Instagram is Taylor McDonald Property, or you can get me on the website, which is firstseaproperty.com.
Super, mate. I appreciate that. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.